What is up, guys? It is Styx here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys an amazing build for Prismatic Warlock. Now, previously, the two builds that I've shown to you guys is one very aggressive build for Hunter and another pretty aggressive build for Warlock, but this one is going to take more of a support and a more survivability based turn, in the sense that we are going to be using all of the things in the game we can to get the new super Song of Flame as frequently as possible, as well as using a new exotic to heal ourselves and our allies as much as we can. Now, starting off with the subclass, we have Prismatic Warlock, of course. You will be using Song of Flame for your super, which, for those who are not very familiar with the new expansion, once you pop your super, you enter this mode very similar to old Sunsinger, where you can spam your grenade and your melee abilities. Your melee will launch additional projectiles. It's the Cinder Snap. And then your grenade is a unique grenade that doesn't seem to fit with anything else, so that this doesn't work with Starfire or anything like that. But it scorches enemies, it explodes, all of that. In addition to that, while you have Song of Flame, you and nearby allies have more ability regeneration, you are resistant to incoming damage, and all of your solar and kinetic weapons will scorch targets. In addition to that, you get Radiant from this. So, pretty strong, pretty good. It takes 10 minutes to charge usually. This build, you're going to get it about every 30 seconds. In addition to that, you're going to be using the Empowering Rift, the Burst Glide, Arcane Needle, and Healing Grenade. For those who aren't aware, since Healing Grenade is a bit of a crux of this build, it cures allies on impact, generating an Orb of Light that grants restoration to those who pick it up. In addition to that, our two aspects here are going to be Feed the Void. Defeating a target with any ability activates Devour, and when you have Devour, you get more health and grenade energy. Great for the Healing Grenade. And Hellion. Activating your class ability summons a Solar Mortar that lobs little Scorch Bombs everywhere. You could use Bleak Watcher if you wanted something more aggressive, but you'd not be able to use the Healing Grenade functionality of this build, so I would highly recommend just sticking with Hellion. For the Fragments, you're going to want Facet of Hope. When you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly, lets us proc Helion more. Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows, generates an elemental pickup of the same damage type, as well as plus 10 resilience. Very good. Facet of Generosity, defeating targets while transcendent creates orbs of power for your allies. This is insane. I have generated over 200 orbs in a single match of Onslaught, stuff like that. It's wild. Facet of Balance, rapidly defeating targets with light damage grants melee energy. Rapidly defeating targets with darkness damage grants grenade energy. Since this isn't ability specific, you can do this with your weapons. It's very good. As well as Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits against targets makes you radiant. Powered melee final blows make you and nearby allies radiant. Now, getting into the armor, you're going to want to be using for your exotic Speaker's Sight, the new exotic helmet. Its perk is the Lost Voice. Healing grenades spawn a restorative turret. Healing allies occasionally spawns an orb of power. If you couldn't tell, this build has a lot of orb of power generation. Now, as far as general armor mods go, I will recommend on the helmet running a harmonic siphon so that you can get some solar weapon final blows, orbs of power, heavy ammo finder, and heavy ammo scout. On the gauntlets, I recommend running heavy handed, harmonic loader, and fastball. On your chest piece, I recommend at the very least sniper damage resistance and concussive dampener. On the legs, I recommend solar weapon surge twice. You can also replace this with strand weapon surge for the specific weapons we're going to be using. I think I end up using strand weapon surge a bit more. For the bond, we are going to be using distribution, powerful attraction, and bomber. And then for the general stat split on our gear, we're going to be going with a low mobility, maxing out our resilience, recovery, and discipline, and then low intellect and low strength. Overall, this gives you a pretty good balance of what you do need, and what you don't need is pretty much ignored. For our weapons, we are going to be using 3 very specific weapons. I don't recommend replacing any of them, as these are the strongest in their category for what we need. So our goal here is we want 3 dealer's choice weapons. In this case specifically, I have 3 crafted weapons. The Call, in my case, Lead from Gold and One for All. I can also recommend Demolitionist and One for All, One for All is amazing for dealing damage. Lead from Gold is really good for just trying to keep up that ammo economy. But I can fully understand Demolitionist to get that extra grenade generation. No Hesitation with Physic and Incandescent. Physic allows you to heal others with the gun, and then while it does, it allows you to heal yourself as well. And then Incandescent scorches and explodes enemies on kills. It's basically Firefly, but better. I highly recommend having these fully enhanced. They're crafted weapons. It's not going to be as difficult as enhancing normal weapons. As well as Pro Memoria. I have Reconstruction bait and switch on this. I'm still fiddling around with the kind of rolls I want. I think it could also be useful trying to run like Hatchling or something, but this is interesting in and of itself. So with all three of these dealer's choice weapons, if you look at their origin trait, final blows with this weapon grant a small amount of super energy. Equipping multiple weapons from the Pale Heart increases this effect. Now, this includes other dealer's choice weapons. As such, these weapons are going to, every time they give you a kill, they're going to give you like 6 or 7% of your super, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're looking at my Onslaught gameplay here, you can go from no super to almost 100% super from the time that you start a Transcendence to the time that it is over. That is how quickly you are getting your super. You are getting it in like 30 seconds, which is wild and will probably be a bit nerfed in the future, but I can also see this still being really good, even if it's nerfed. I think it could get a 50% nerf and still be absolutely amazing. And for a build like this, which is very support oriented, you're providing the damage resistance and the ability regeneration, you're going to make absolute mockery of content using this build. It makes you just an absolute powerhouse. It lets you make your allies an absolute powerhouse. When you combine it with Speaker Sight for the healing, grenade turrets, it's wild. And then for the seasonal artifacts, I'm going to recommend running Unstoppable Sidearm. That's the only one that matters in the first column for this specific build. I recommend running Overcharged Armory, so that dealer's choice weapons, which is all of our weapons, are always overcharged when that modifier is active. Authorized mod Elemental Charge, or I recommend Winning Hand while using weapons with the dealer's choice origin trait. Combatant Precision Final Blows or rapidly defeating combatants cause the target to explode, dealing solar damage to nearby combatants. Having several equipped weapons with that origin trait increases the effect of the explosion. This is amazing. It works in perfectly with this build. In addition to that, Elemental Siphon, so that when we kill things with our solar auto rifle, we get elemental pickups that match the super, as well as Threaded Blast. Destroying a tangle with a strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. We shoot tangles with the call, and that gives us a big explosion. I'm going to recommend Radiant Orbs, so that while you have a Prismatic subclass equipped, picking up Orbs of Power makes you radiant. Just really nice. And then Counter Energy, when you are a member of your fire team that stuns a champion, you gain energy for your least charged ability. And then in the final column, I'm going to recommend running 2 primary perks here. Transference, so that you get increased grenade and melee damage while Transcendent, so you can use your super and then do this. And also Weapon Final Blows while Transcendent, refund light and dark energy after Transcendence ends. In addition to that, you can use Prismatic Transfer. Whenever you cast your super, every member of your fire team with a super type different than yours gains a bonus to weapon damage. Now, the other ones can be very useful. I don't really remember if there's dealer choice void weapons, but if you're specifically going with this build, it might not be the most useful to you. But I can also, if you don't like Prismatic Transfer as much, or maybe you're not as coordinated with your team, Shield Crush is extremely good here as well, where if you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or Avoid Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. You're not going to benefit from this aspect of it, but whenever you're Radiant, your grenade recharges faster, and it says deals increased damage. Here you're mostly looking for the recharge if you take it. Either way, if you enjoyed the video and thought this build was helpful to you, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.